Welcome to This Week on the 6873 show. We've been getting a lot of feedback, and we wanted to do a special episode on VR and how to get into it. Some tips and tricks from advanced users and people who have been in VR for a while now. So please join us on this discussion. We hope you enjoy it. Anyway, my name is Captain Rin. The other hosts today joining us are...
I'm Rossi, and we have...
Ion.
And Tookie, of course. And we have a little somebody joining us, a little big somebody joining us today. Spyro over here. And I hope that you also would share some of your advice on this subject. Of course, if you want to, you could just sit there being pretty.
I am not pretty, thank you. I am not pretty. Don't let her jinx you. I am not pretty. Sorry. No, I'm not.
Horrible. Yes, he's very good.
Okay.
No,
So,
I'm not.
Advice for beginners in VR chat.
Well, I think a good point too is a misconception with VR is, just a cost point of getting into it. Getting into VR in general doesn't have to be, a huge expense, especially if the mobile market came out. Building up your own computer is an alternative. And for those who aren't able to get a headset yet, most of the VR worlds you can actually go on and explore using nothing but what's known as a pancake screen, or just using your regular desktop until later on you're actually able to get the headset. Basic entry into VR is about $300, of course, for a standard small standalone, and of course that can go up to $2,000 to $3,000 for a desktop, a full VR headset, and full body trackers. But it doesn't have to cost that much. And of course, you can also now looking for third party or for used equipment. There's a lot of used equipment out there, a lot of good deals to get you into VR. So the price point to get into VR is dropping substantially. You don't have to start in the latest hot setup to get into VR. VR chat, alt space, several other communities, a lot of your basic gaming you can do on a very basic system. So for a lot of people who think that it's going to be a huge expense to get in VR, thankfully now that price is dropping. I know at the end of this year and then coming into next year, there's going to be a lot of new technology come out that's going to bring that even further, open it up for a lot more people to get into VR, not only mobile, but also into computer VR. Now, there is, for some communities, there is a little bit of a difference as far as using these systems for like visuals and stuff like that, but they can still get you in here. You can still enjoy everything that everyone else does.
Yes. Like, what kind of equipment do you guys use? I mean, I use the Quest 2. It's my first time actually using this kind of type in VR. I used to be playing on a laptop. It was shit. It couldn't do anything. And then I got my PC. I joined again. But for me, I lacked that experience of like the play where you actually use your the interaction. So I was just happy when I got my Quest, which I saved up for. But for others, like y'all talked about, there are like really, really expensive equipment out there. I don't know what you guys are playing on. I'm just using the Quest 2.
I'm on just Quest 2, but I'm looking to get a PC in the future to link the Quest 2 so I can unlock the PC playable nature of it.
I'm on a Quest 2 and there for a while. For those people who actually have a high enough bandwidth, there is services coming out now that are rolling out that are web-based computers. So I was actually able to, for a while, rent a virtual VM, virtual computer, and actually have all my software on that, and then broadcast that directly to my Quest, so I didn't have the out-of-pocket expense right away to have a PC version. But I still play with just nothing but my Quest 2. Since I move around a lot, it's nice having the Quest 2, something just pull out of a bag, put it on, and go.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Quest is quite ideal for the basic gameplay, the basic VR experience. And I think as well, it's got the advantage of the whole, you're not tethered to anything. It's the free play of everything. But then when you see PC players with all of their, full body tracking, and they start going on about their dynamic bones and all of the hair that moves and things like that, and you see all the higher spec things, you sort of go, oh, but when it really boils down to it, it's what you see is what you get, kind of thing. And you just, I really like the Quest. I really do. I'm very impressed with it. As much as I would love to have PC accessibility.
Yeah.
I both platforms to me definitely have their place. For me, it is an easy entry level for beginners to get into VR is to have a standalone, which there are actually more standalones besides just the Oculus Quest coming out and rolling out here. It makes it available pretty much for anyone. But the PC version, I was actually watching a really brilliant YouTube show about someone explaining the difference between PC and they were actually saying, is PC VR dying because there's this huge movement towards the mobile units, a huge movement toward mobile units. Actually, PC gamers are actually going down and mobile users are coming up. And but like I said, it's PC users will never die, and they shouldn't die because it is an amazing technology. You can get so much more out of it, but PC users, I think, are more for the power users, for the more experienced power users that want to do more in VR. And I think the mobile side of it is more for those getting into VR and those who just want a basic way to simply dive into VR and not have to set up base stations and everything else. So I think mobile VR is pretty much your normal users, and then of course you have the hardcore users using PC.
I think the joy is as well with the mobile. It's like a friend of ours with his work. He's currently staying in a hotel somewhere with work because he's doing some away from business training or something, and he was able to just take his Quest with him, log into the hotel Wi-Fi, and jump in and enjoy the evening on VR sort of thing. So, but with the PC setup, you'd have to take all of your kit, all of your base stations, and all that lot. So,
definitely becomes cumbersome. But like I say, both have their place. I love PC just because of the usability and the advanced stuff you can do with it.
Definitely.
But the ease of use, I guess, for a lot of things that comes down to the mobile side is the simple ease of use of having a mobile system, because it is less technical.
Yes.
You simply put it on and you dive. And And so, what would be a good introductory? I know a lot of people don't want to just play games in VR. Games in VR are great; they're amazing, but there's so much more to VR than just gaming. There are actual living worlds now. It's going to be here pretty soon where people will actually have full-time jobs working in VR, actually running stores, whole living communities inside of VR. And that's actually coming very, very, very soon. In fact, I'm starting to see a lot of it in a lot of rules now. But what you guys think would be a good, because there are multiple platforms out there. There's AltSpace, there's VR Chat. Those are the two major true VR worlds. But what would you think would be a good one for a new person just getting into VR to go to?
I would say Roblox, if that's what it's called. Because it's a simple gameplay. You get to know your controllers and stuff like that. I joined just to look for what it was, basically. Just experience it, and it's so easy to maneuver around and do stuff with. So I would say if you are beginner, try that out first, because it will help you develop, I wouldn't say skills, but the way you interact with your controllers, with your headset. It's not so complicated, it's not so detailed, but it's still very good. I will say that. And it's fun.
No.
And I think another thing too, especially for a lot of the older community, I know that a lot of the older community in VR has been hanging around a platform called Altspace, which is more an event driven. So you'd be able to go in Altspace, go to concerts, go to talks and stuff like that. So it's a social community built more for, giving talks and stuff like that. That I've gotten to some amazing scientific discussion boards in Altspace. So there's definitely more of a senior or more of an educated crowd would want to go to Altspace. Another good platform, of course. The biggest platform right now is VR chat. Which is good because, well, with VR chat you have all age groups. You have from the younger generation, mid-grade, all the way up to the elderly, because this is the largest community. So you can kind of find a little bit of everything. But being such a large community also means that you're going to run into, if you want to find it, you will find it here. Exactly. And what would be, if you were diving into a VR world for the first time, what would be a few tips that you would give someone diving into any world for the first time?
Don't randomly friend people.
Yes. Yeah.
That would be a big one.
You can just be sitting there having normal conversation, and this little 3-year-old just comes up behind you and starts friend requesting you, asking you if you've accepted it or not. I've had that happen to me a lot.
Yeah, because that's one of the that leads on to a safety feature of you randomly friend people, and particularly in something like VR chat where it is a whole multitude of different age ranges. If you've got some 10-year-old friending all these older people, like myself, late 30s and things like that, it can be a bit weird in the respect of you don't know what that person's like. They could genuinely be a really nice person, but they could also be creepy weirdo, and preying on that kind of thing. But
hey, that is my title.
I realized what you were doing.
Creepy weirdo.
I'm a bit weird, but I'm not creepy weirdo.
I would say sniff around a little by yourself. I was lucky enough that I had somebody who actually friended me immediately. He literally kind of saved me from 2 bullies who were on PC, and they were being spiteful and stuff like that, saying, "Oh, you're a Quest user." And I was terrified. It was my first day in VR, and this kid came up to me, 17-year-old, came up to me and said, "Hey, let me take you somewhere else, because these people are just idiots." He took me to a different world, and he is still one of my OG friends. And it was oh, what is this? He taught me everything, and people I started to hang out with, and you need, like I said, you need to be careful who you friend in here. But you will know when you meet the right people, and you can become a part of a big, very accepted community in here. But sniff around first, I would say. Don't go around "Hey, what's up?" And act like an idiot, because you're just gonna get idiot friends.
Yeah.
I learned that the hard way. But stop it. Yeah, he still keeps following me around.
I don't know who he is. He won't leave me alone. Who is this man?
Where am I?
I think that does raise a couple of points. Is even maybe if you know someone who already is in VR, like a real life friend, dive with them the first time. If you don't know anyone, just be selective, be careful. One thing I would also suggest to a lot of people is they come into VR thinking it's just a crazy fast game. They're going crazy and stuff like that, doing things they would never do in real life. But remember that this is a living society too. Everyone that you see here is a real person. They have real emotions. They are actually here, and anything that societal structure that you would do in real life, carry it over here. Be respectful, be friendly, be courteous. Don't be a troll.
You will be held accountable.
Yes, that's the one thing about every platform I've ever been on is there is accountability. There is checks and balances. You can be blocked. You can be reported. If you get so many reports, you can actually be kicked out of that world for good.
Yeah.
Or be banned entirely.
Banned entirely, exactly. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, don't come in here going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. If you would do it in if you wouldn't do it in reality, don't do it here.
And if
Which
you
I
do
think
it in
would
reality,
also bring
then don't even bother joining.
Exactly. Another thing too, I think would be a good subject for a lot of people is age requirements, because just to have a VR headset, that there actually is an age requirement. Most of these worlds do require, at least the lowest world I've seen is 16 years old to actually be in a virtual world. Some of them I think go down to 13. Yeah, 13.
Yeah.
But there are age requirements. So if you're a parent thinking that you're just going to buy your child a headset, it's a gift for just a toy. Well, these aren't toys. These are living communities, and they can get in trouble. So for a lot of parents out there, I would definitely caution them on just getting your 2, 3, 4-year-old, 5-year-old a headset. Because you don't know who that you will run into.
There is a feature on the Quest where you can actually have it casting to your phone. So everybody that is a parent and has at least a 3 to 4 to 5-year-old, if you give them the Quest, make sure to have an extra phone that actually shows you what they're looking at and what they're doing.
Yeah.
Because I've actually known a kid who actually got caught going into a 18 plus world. I could hear his mother in the background yelling, telling him to get out of there. I'm like, well, that's one structure that VR chat does have that I am really grateful they have. Because if these kids aren't monitored, they'd be running around like chickens with their heads cut off. They'd be doing everything they possibly can.
Yeah,
we see that a lot.
Also, another thing you can do as well, if you can't do the casting setup, as I say, log in yourselves as the parents, investigate it yourself, experience what's involved, and then you'll see, and you'll get an idea of whether you want to let your kid be involved on that or not.
Yeah. There is also the subject of.
Go ahead.
There is also the subject of public worlds. It can be very chaotic, and I will say, for the newcomers, make sure you actually have a friend if you want to go in public, because you need the backup. There will be trolls there. There will be bad people, bad communities, but there are also the good people. Yeah. But just in case, always bring a friend. Don't go in public by yourself. You have to be careful.
My eyes are like this? Why do you think my eyes are like this? I went into a public world and I haven't been the same since.
This is true. I was
I will say there
normal
are
once
public
too.
worlds where you tend to crash more than others.
Mm.
The black cat.
The black cat.
The infamous
Yeah.
black cat.
Yeah.
Mm.
If you are
Well-
going into a public world, do it where there's not that many people.
Are you broken again?
I think so. We were having technical difficulties with our dragon.
Yeah.
And one thing too is I would say, also don't be afraid to explore, because like for me, when I first got into VR, when I first got into VR chat, I started going to this one public world that, because the most popular time in VR chat were, of course, the Black Cat and the Pug. The Pug is one of the oldest clubs in VR chat, and they are literally a nightclub, and people go there to do nightclub stuff. But there was this one world that I had found just by accident. It had an interesting picture, and I would spawn into it, and it had to go there just to see it was actually real. But it was a complete remake of an old 70s sleazy stripper bar.
Oh.
And it was kind of where all the unpopular people went. So I fit right in.
Oh.
And I met some of my oldest friends there. It was one of those worlds that, like I say, the trolls never went to. All the unpopular people went to, and it was, I don't know, I still love that place. It's been taken down, but it was one of those places. It was quirky, it was strange, the people there were good, and especially going into VR for the first time, meeting some of my first real friends and stuff there, it was magic.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be afraid to explore. But remember, if things go bad, you can zone out of any world as soon as you can, or as soon as you don't get good vibes there. You can always jump worlds. You can always block, and you can always report.
Yes.
And you have a home world. That's the good
Yeah,
thing.
so
That's your world.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say that, actually. That's what I tend to do if I'm ever in a world where I'm like, bit uncomfortable. Just
Yeah.
boom.
A home world is yours and yours alone. You can invite people there, yes. But you are the admin or the master, what you want to call it. So that is your safe place.
Yes.
I know that some worlds will actually have a hotlink key. On Alt Space, there's a little button there, and it literally has just a home icon, and you can click that any time. It's always there. And VR chat, you can always go into your worlds real quick, hit home, and it takes you there. It's locked. No one can join you unless you actually invite them. And I found that true cross platforms. So that is always a good thing to get out of a bad situation.
Yeah. A lot of worlds has actually done that where they had put a portal in that actually shows your home world. So in any case, you can actually, if the panic takes you, or if it's just a really, really bad situation, you can just go through that portal. I mean, anything to get away from, the bad people.
Yeah.
And I've seen more and more worlds implicating that into,
I think it's very good, because I must admit, the first time I saw it, it was like, how have they got my world in their world? Yeah, it was like,
I did the same thing. Yeah.
And then I realized they had above it, it said go home, and it was just a link to your home.
Mm-hmm.
So whoever it is, it's just so everybody would see a different portal.
Yeah, exactly. And portals. Now that we talk about them, I, for the longest time, could not put down a portal because nobody would teach me how. They always open up a portal. I'm like, tell me what to do. And it's like, no, it's just easier if I do it. I can't leave if I don't know how. Or invite people with me. Just help me. And they finally gave up and showed me. And now I'm like, okay, I got it's covered. I still make mistakes. Like instead of doing friends, I go into public. I'm like, oh, this was not good. It was not what I meant to do.
I tend to make the mistake of, instead of clicking drop portal, I end up just clicking go, and then
Yeah,
I've got
clicking
to,
go,
I've got to invite everybody now.
Everybody.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. I
Which I think is a good too. So I mean, even though this community is getting large and is getting large fast, it's nice to take the time because we are still a community. There's a lot of the groups here are very tight knit. So take the time and say, "Oh, are you new here?" Welcome in, make them feel welcome. Say, "Hey, can I help you with anything? Do you have any questions I can help you with?" Take a minute. Outside that, you might make a friend for but it doesn't take very much to say, "Hey, you're new here. Can I help you with something? Do you have any questions? Do you want to see some cool worlds with me?" It doesn't take much.
I mean, even I met a guy and he was like, I don't know where to find these avatars and stuff. I'm like, hey, I have a couple if you want to try to clone them and see if something for you. And I actually ended up taking him avatar hunting, as we call it. And he was like excited. It was like a kid in the candy store. Like, I don't know what to choose. Where do we go now? But just a little, like you said, spend a minute. It doesn't hurt anybody. And these people genuinely want help. Just take care of people out there. We need to take better care of each other.
It's kind of fun too to see their minds just completely blown for the first time. Like there was a person that actually is from a different VR community, very much a hacker, new to VR chat, because the interface is a little bit different. Every VR community pretty much has the basic same functions, but just different ways of doing it. And of course, VR chat has these amazing worlds. I mean, VR chat has some of the best worlds I've ever seen, and I was taking her through with a group of my friends, taking her through all these different worlds, and she'd go in this like, she'd just sit there and look around, it's like, I can't imagine this how like the first minute is just her going like, it's like, it's okay, you get used to it.
It's so precious. It really is.
I think another good point too would be in any VR community, don't take people at because in the real world you see their physical self, so you can kind of judge age, you can judge genders and stuff like that. In VRC, you kind of represent yourself as who you want to be. And so be careful, because some of the people that I've actually had it happen to me. One of my best friends, actually one of my first friends in VR in general, back in the days when I was in alt space, everyone thought he was 30-something years old. In fact, he had worked himself up to be an admin for the actual virtual world. And so, he would always come choose our things, and everyone thought he turned out he was like 15. Still my best friend. He's my bud. But when he came out, because we just never asked him, he didn't sound his age. He didn't act his age. He was very much. He was a very mature person. But it's like, holy crap, you're how old? And okay, it's very disconcerting, because you can't judge someone by, just their avatar of their age, their sex, their preferences, anything like that. So, sometimes when you meet a new person, kind of be careful, and don't be afraid to ask too. Okay, what are your, especially if you're in a world where you might feel those younger people, it says, I don't mean to be a dick or anything like that, but how old are you? And, what are your pronouns? And I think a lot of people too, especially in some of the communities, would actually be okay, saying, "Oh, well, I identify as this," and it's okay. I totally understand. You're this because I mean, this happened to some of us here. We thought people were much older than what they were. Some of us actually started getting into relationships with these people, and it turned out completely bad. Because they didn't know how old they were. So just be careful out there.
Because whenever we first met, you thought I was older.
Yeah, I know. But I wasn't surprised when I found out your age. I just felt old.
You're not old, honey.
You're not. I'm older than you, so.
I'm vintage.
You damn kids, get out of my line! I'm moving all of you.
You goddamn kids on my lawn.
But like in our instance,
we have the puppy over here.
You, so I've broken more bones than all of you, so I have that advantage.
The thing is, when you and I started talking, it was more like the personality that I fell for, that I got drawn in by. And when I saw him on camera first time on Discord, it didn't even occur to me how he looked or whatever, because the feelings were there to begin with. So what he looks like was just a bonus.
A bonus.
Because
even though I look like I was hit by a bus then backed up on.
Me.
Thank you for ruining the moment, honey. Too late.
I think that brings up another thing too, is when you get into VR, you're going to meet pretty much everyone, and finding someone that goes beyond friend, it's going to happen. It's just going to happen because there's just so many people out here. It's so easy to meet people because it's easier to meet people in VR than it is in the real world because you don't have a lot of those things in the way that trip you up in the real life. Number one, you don't look as cute and adorable and handsome and buff in real life.
Oh man, I don't know what you're talking about. Man, you can get all.
I'm sorry, was that too loud? Sorry.
So I mean, it will happen. You'll eventually find a special someone, but that's also comes into making sure that you know who you're getting into a relationship with. And the thing is too, the nice thing about VR is you fall in love with the person first. I mean, you really fall in love with the person. And there was actually a study. Yeah, there was actually a study done not too long ago, in the very early days of computer dating, and it said that relationships who started that way lasted longer because it wasn't focused on one thing. It was actually they were like being with that person. So
exactly,
it can be a great thing. Like I say, just be careful who you get into a relationship with.
It's kind of a balance thing, because also you need to be open-minded to a lot. There are a lot of people in here who has a lot of baggage. You will meet some who can't overcome that. You will meet some that you can relate to. Keep an open mind, because people are not always what they pretend to be, to show you. They will open up more, but it's gonna take time, especially in here, because people can be very sweet, but they act like assholes. So yeah, caution, but yes.
Yeah, but I'm a funny asshole.
Yes, you are.
Okay.
Funny
But
looking.
again, it's that balance to find that you will know when you get there. You will know who to stay around, like I call it my pack, and who to just yeet and delete.
Mm-hmm.
Not
Well,
That's one way for it.
It's because I did like this, and I was afraid you were taking the wrong way. Oh, Joey! Oh, Joey! No, don't hate me.
You're good.
but that does for your friends, for your significant other, stuff like that. I mean, some of my truest friendships that I've ever had have been built in here simply because I know the person. Like I know a lot of people in real life, or the IRL, we like to call it here. We can actually go over some of that too, is some of the verbiage a lot of people you'll experience coming into VR. But you get to know the people first, and that's really nice, because I've known so many people in real life who only like a person for a certain thing, or because of a certain status, or because they have a certain look, but they don't really know the person.
Yeah.
And this kind of takes a lot of that away.
Yes, queen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Case in point, Spyro.
No, you know what? You've known me for 2 years now. Shut up.
Yep.
I will say, once you find that community in here, and it's gonna take time, be patient, but once you find that community, you will actually experience people that are more open-minded and forgiving and consulting, and be your friend in bad times and good times. I will say I have a lot of good friends in here, but I have a few best friends in here.
And you'll also
And
find that you
those
kind
are
of build a family. Like, you actually have a family.
a family, my network, my pack. I'd rather have few friends, because in here you can friend everybody. Like, you can have 200 or 300 people you're friends with, and you don't even know half of them. So, yeah. But
Who are you?
Spyro's a puppy for
4,684.
wait, what? I'm just a number to you.
4,684. No.
Spyro, I've known you for over 2 years. I see where I stand now. Talk to the paw.
You were the first person I ever friended, so.
That is true. I knew you when you first joined VR.
Yep.
What I was trying to say, most of the people in here are very accepting. They take you for who you are, what your character is, and if you show them the love that you have to give, like the love that I received in here, I still can't believe it, but I feel loved, I feel safe once I had that community. So yeah, choose your friends wisely. You will have them for life. Other than Ren. You know I love you. I just love to tease you.
Everyone has to pick on the wolf because wolves have bad reputations. Not as bad as a fox, but.
Wait, what? You just pissed the wrong crowd off.
Fox in the stable.
I can kill you.
Back away. I'm backing away from this situation.
Can I have my spanner back, please?
Fox in the stable.
What?
If I do, I'll end up hitting my side table.
Fox in the stables.
Fox in the stables. Oh crap! I just watched a video about that.
Yeah, I'll be hitting my side table if I keep.
Don't ask what
I
Fox
don't
in
know
the
if I
stable
should
is.
feel violated or confused.
Feel violated.
Oh dear.
Don't look that up. Please, for the love of God, don't look that up.
Don't
do it. No, just don't.
Don't do it.
No, do look it up. Do look it up.
Wait,
It's
I've gone
part of your
through what have I
education.
missed?
Fox in the stable.
I swear to God, I will come over there.
Yeah.
Hit me with a good
No,
time.
nothing.
Ooh.
So my wife's going to watch this and go, "How do you know what that is?"
No, God, yeah.
Then we'll never see Rossi again.
Okay, so this is what happens when you're with the friends that you can trust. The conversation just go beyond the subject because you have that dynamic. But trying to get back to the subject before we get even more sidetracked.
One more thing. I have no filter between my brain or my mouth, so there you go.
Yeah, there are those kind of people too.
They're the most fun, though.
But let's
Say what
try
you say.
and wrap this up. Like, are there any good advices that you guys want to share on this, like, end of the show right now?
Yes.
Okay.
I actually have one.
Yeah. Go.
Now,
Okay, go ahead.
on any kind of computer you can get a hold of, you can do it. I started on a 2005 Dell Inspiron Omniplex 360 with a single i2 core. You can start from anywhere. It only ran Windows XP, but it ran VR chat. And that's how I met her. Once we fully got together, I actually went out and bought the Quest so I can actually spend more time with her. There is its downsides from going from a PC to a Quest. I'm currently trying to get a Quest PC set up right now. And all I need to do is reprogram it and make it set up for it. It's going to take some time, but I plan on to be on Quest side more. I plan on using the PC side to do recordings for TikToks and possibly. It's going to be a little bit of a road, but any kind of computer you can get a hold of, try your best to get it to work. It might be a subtle, slow drive to get in and crashes a lot, but it will work. It just takes time.
It gets you in.
I personally run my Quest off of my PC all the time. I have a laptop. It's it only costed me $1,000, but yeah. But it runs. But yes, I do crash almost. Depends on what world I'm in, technically. But it varies depending on how high speed your internet is and all that other stupid stuff.
It does take a lot of
Anyone
bandwidth
else?
to be on VR.
But I use virtual desktop, so.
True.
Virtual desktop is still, in my opinion, the best. So, what are some of the
I had a lot of
terms
issues with
that
the
you?
wireless.
What are some
I
of
had a lot of issues.
the verbiage and terms that you found in VR that we use a lot that you really never heard anywhere else? I know I didn't know what IRL was until I came here.
Well, I kind of knew some of them also because being a gamer, you get used to a lot of that language. There are still some I don't know or don't remember, but in real life, AFK, BRB, stuff like that, it just sticks with you. And I will say it's not so much in here that I hear them. In real life, RRL I hear, but an AFK, but that's about it. I don't think I have heard any other terms.
No. I must admit, it's funny you say about AFK and things like that. It's funny because I never used to use those terms until I started in VR.
Yeah.
And I remember it was quite funny actually because I was I was at work and I was on. We're linked into Microsoft Teams so that we can communicate with each other because of COVID and all that lot. And I actually put on there AFK or BRB, and they responded back with, "What the hell does that mean?" So I then had to explain to them what it meant. They went, "Why didn't you just put that?" I said because I was trying to type it quickly because I actually needed to go to the toilet.
Nice.
Quick responses save lives.
Yes.
And
pants.
bladders.
And pants.
Yeah.
So, what do you have any like really funny stories of your first time ever diving to VR?
Me?
Yeah, you could share.
Yeah.
Oh,
The cute fluffy dragon.
Well, first time really ever diving into VR. I was kind of excited, but under a low key kind of disappointed with myself because I swooped down to the low of buying something for myself, which I never do. But I was mostly filled with anxiety and just didn't want to do it for the longest time. And then I finally did it. Scared shitless. Flat out just gonna say it, scared shitless. And then met a few people. Didn't really click with them, and then met Rin, and then that's when my anxiety kind of went away.
I corrupted him.
Met someone. Well, yes, but it kind of just disappeared. I can actually go up to people now and actually talk to them in real life and in this. So that's about it.
I would
Well, I
say
remember
for
my
me,
first-
it was the whole incident Pringles. That's actually a term too.
Pringles.
I swear to God, every time you were in the middle of a very serious conversation, people would just dead ass look at you. You've gone Pringle.
Oh
And
yeah,
the
the mic
Pringle.
thing.
Everything. Yeah, the mic thing.
Oh
You sounded
my
like you were in a
God.
can of Pringles. So
Yeah.
it became Pringles. I hate Pringles now.
Gone Pringles.
I don't like them.
Yes.
I'm
Oh, I forgot
traumatized.
about the Pringle era.
I don't like. When I see them in the store, I give them the death stare. I don't like you.
Bitch.
You are my nemesis. Yeah.
I'm going to kill you.
Saying that, I've noticed recently they've started having a new mic problem.
Yes.
It doesn't happen as
Roboto.
often, but it's suddenly, suddenly goes like
Roboto,
robotic and yeah.
Well, it was funny too because they had the mic, the Pringles can here in VR chat. They also had it on a completely different platform in AltSpace.
Really?
And they,
God.
of course,
God.
being a different class or different type of or different society, they were like all primitive, like, "Excuse me, sir, your mic is messing up." And here you go, Pringles. So yeah.
Oh, we are so uncouth in VR chat.
You're so unprecified in VR chat.
Well, there was a couple other
you
terms,
had
but
a
I probably
story
shouldn't
you
say
wanted
those
to
here.
share too.
Sorry.
Yes, and this is actually when I first got into VR back when I was on PC. Literally the second day I've ever joined, I literally spawned into a room with two people. Let's just say ERPing.
Enjoying
That's
themselves.
a term
dear.
too. That's a term too.
Now,
Yeah, that
whenever
happened
they
to
were
me
doing
earlier.
it, they were in the upstairs area. I was like, oh, I'm in the wrong place. I don't need to be here. And all I could hear from upstairs, and this was actually way before me and her met, was, "Are you going to come join, or is it just going to be a twosome?" I'm like,
Okay.
I was like, home, 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 home. I was like,
But be aware, people do it
get
in
out of
public
here.
as well.
Yes, yes.
No, what's
I
the
think they do
worst
in the
part
IRL as well
is when
too.
they're in the middle of it and they stop and just stare at you.
Oh God.
Just dead stare at you in the eyes, and you're just like,
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Happens.
Why do I have a feeling that you would do that? Why do I have a feeling that you would do that?
Just stare dead eyes.
Well, my favorite thing is that, you know, if I
Why do you
accidentally
think of me
find
like
people doing that, it's like, get your butt higher! Or just go, next!
What? He's mean.
Aw.
I'm just a big fluffy dragon. What are you talking about?
No.
I'm just a pillow. What?
You're just a pillow.
Just a pillow, just a pillow.
Anyway, to end this, have we been around everything we think is important?
I think so. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
the biggest thing is, you know, just, when you go into VRC, just remember that it is a living world, that there are people here. Be kind, be courteous. If you're going to allow your kids on, you know, be with them in some form. And
Yes.
just have fun, because VR, especially the living rules like VR Chat, Alt Space, and a couple other communities out there, they're wonderful. You can have some of the best experiences in your life in here, which sounds funny, just being, you know, like what some people consider a virtual game, but you'll have some amazing experiences in here, and you're going to meet some amazing people and have lifelong friends. So, is it worth it? Definitely. If you're warning ahead, if you should do it, just do it. It's not expensive now. Start where you can. You can always work up later, but take the dive. Take the dive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So if no one else has any closing comments, I think we will close it here for today. Thank you so much for joining us at the 6873 show. We hope to see you next week. Like, subscribe, share. Because we do have cost show, please consider supporting us at our Patreon. All the links will be down below. And if you have any comments or anything that you like us to discuss, or any ideas for the show, please let us know. Our email, and we also have a Discord, which will also be in the links below. So until next week, see ya and have a great time.
Lots of love. Bye.
That's a lot. Yeah. Bye-bye.
Spread the
Bye.
good vibe.
Hello, everybody. I am Tookie from the 6873 show. I was supposed to do Avatars of the Week, but because of family situations and such, I wasn't able to do an episode. It will be a new episode coming out this week, so please like and subscribe for more videos, and leave a little comment if you want me to check out a world with avatars, any kind of avatars. I am up for it. Anyway, I am Tookie, and I apologize. Take care, be safe, lots of love. Bye.
You know.
Hello.
And we just got a special guest.
You just got a visitor.
Apparently.
Hey guys.
Hello.
Hi.
Hello.
How are you?
Pretty good.
Good.
This is a really good show.
Oh, thank you, but we're actually mid in recording, so
No,
thank
we're
you for
recording.
joining us.
You can go up here and watch us, though. There's actually
Yeah.
an observation platform up here.
Oh, I can. Oh,
The other way. The other way. There you go.
He's found it.
Hold on. If you are watching that and you just got kicked, that's one of the biggest issues we have. Is like people randomly joining in to like other people's TikToks, live streams, recordings, and they instantly come in and go like, "Pa, hey, talk to me. I need to speak to you," or something like that. Really, in the middle of these recordings. Yes, with these kind of recordings, we try to keep it focused on our actual talking and our conversations, and some people just randomly join and go like, "Ren, help me with something." But
And walks in
Oh,
front
that
of the camera.
He
That
just
might
walks
be
in
my
front of the
fault.
camera,
I'm
ignores that
I'm
we
on
are
blue.
sitting here having
That
a
might be my
full-on
fault.
conversation.
I'm sorry.
It's
I
all good.
found a culprit.
I'm
Help
sorry.
me.
You get the spanner.
Done.
Dun, dun.
Done.
Oh god, he brought out
You
the
get the
weapon.
spanner.
You
get the spanner.
Whoa there, Trigger. Whoa there, Trigger. I gotta take this away from you. It's coming over here.
My spanner.
Whoa there,